guys, I am here with Miss Veronica Chapa-Gorczynski. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity today.
Of course, thank you for coming in to talk to you.
Sure.
And are you originally from Houston?
That's a great question. And the answer is no.
No?
No, I'm a transplant, originally
Okay.
from the Rio Grande Valley. And so part of my biography or my journey is I've lived in a lot of great cities. So I've lived in New Orleans, San Antonio, Austin, DC, and Houston.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
hopped around a bit.
you finally came to the best one, right?
I did. The
Yeah.
best food, the best people, the best opportunity. It's all here.
It's
So
legitimately
this is home.
a melting pot.
Yeah. And January is 9 years. So I've been
Really?
here a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
It's good.
awesome.
It's good.
So tell me a little bit about where we are,
Yeah.
what everything's about.
Okay.
And because everyone, I'm sure, has heard of the East End District. I mean, it's booming. It's becoming just this amazing place with all the artwork, all of the Mexican food. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, just everything. And navigation is becoming like the hotspot. So tell us a little bit about this area.
So a little bit about myself and where we're at.
Okay.
And so I'm the president of the East End District, which is technically a management district. So I tell people we're like a tiny town. I'm responsible for the 16 miles in the East End, and commercial owners opted to self-tax to provide services above what the city's providing. So
That's awesome.
It started with an award-winning graffiti abatement program. We mow the right-of-way. We pick up litter. We actually have a security contract to add additional services for security, which is why the East End is one of the safest places in the city. Consistently, like our crime rates, because people think it's a bad neighborhood, but
Yeah.
our crime rates are lower than the city average.
Really?
And so the part that drew me here, I've been here about a year and a half, is you've got this amazing just cultural center of things happening. And it's from Second Ward to Magnolia Park and Macomb Park and Ottowood and Eastwood. And every little neighborhood that makes up the greater East End has its unique character. And so it's everything from people moving in because they want access to the beautiful bungalows, or they want access to the bayou and go rowing.
Yeah.
Which I thought I would have friends that would row. That's a Northeast kind of thing that
Right?
you do
Yeah.
when you go to college. But I have friends who row. And then from the navigation, Esplanade is a linear park that we're technically responsible for. And that, for us, was our first real placemaking experiment. It took a lot of community input saying we really want to do this, and the district leadership in finding all the money to get the financing to put it together. So it's done. It's all with grants.
That's awesome.
And so things that I encourage people to do is, frankly, ride a bike and drink a margarita, not at the same time. But we have these delicious places popping up. And we know the Mexican food. We have El Tiempo and we have Ninfa's, the original. They're kind of side by side.
Yeah.
But Andy's Cafe,
Yes.
you will never go wrong ordering it on the menu at Andy's Cafe.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And it's all like within, a mile and a half of each other.
Yeah.
And there's more coming. So
Really?
you're seeing some development now. Yeah, I'm not allowed to disclose yet, but some other fabulous restaurants. And so the hard part is there's not going to be Mexican food.
What?
We're getting some other competitive, delicious stuff coming in. But yeah, we're going to break out through some different genres now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I wanted to ask this question earlier because I have had a few margaritas at El Tiempo and Ninfa's. I won't tell you which one's my favorite. But I always see there's this like just pop-up shop right down the middle. What is that?
So I'm glad you asked. That's the farmer's market.
Awesome.
And we have both a farmer's market and we have a cultural arts market the last Friday of the month. And so our goal is to support small business.
That's wonderful.
And the pop-up, we had a great one over Valentine's Day, where rather than seeing people like in vacant parking lots or trying to just pop up a tent, is we just asked them to come here. And it's a low fee to get in. It's secure. We have bathrooms now. So if you've seen,
that's number one.
there's
yeah.
a metal building wrapped in loteria cards. Yeah, and people are like, oh, what is that? Because it's got a fancy ramp and stairs. It's an air-conditioned bathroom for men and women. So you
Oof.
can go and, yeah.
And anyone who lives in Houston knows that that's a godsend.
Yeah, so if you come to
Air
a
conditioning.
festival, if you
Yeah.
come to the market, if you come, we have that amenity available to make it more comfortable,
That's
enjoyable
awesome.
experience for you.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah,
I like it. So, Veronica, we were talking before we, had the camera on,
Yeah.
a little bit about your background.
Yep.
And, you saying that, it's not necessarily a woman-dominated kind of job, what you're doing now, and also, what you did before in urban development.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? Maybe some pitfalls or road bumps that you've had to kind of deal with?
Sure. So my training is as an urban planner. And so I've primarily been in the public sector and public-private partnerships, funding with the grant side. The challenge as I kind of rose in the ranks of those spaces is I saw that they were increasingly male-dominated. You know, early on in my career, there were also not a lot of Hispanic or Latinos in those spaces. And so it was this very conscious, kind of self-conscious awareness when you're in these rooms, because you had to be careful about everything from, you know, were my earrings too big to did I say the right thing?
Yeah.
And so the hard part about it is I felt like I probably limited myself, but I also observed a lot. When I've grown into my leadership in the last, especially the last 5 years, it was funny that we all started using the buzzword authenticity.
I like it. Yeah.
And when I did the interview for this job, it was like the most authentic interview that I'd ever done. And I said, this is me. This is the good and the bad. And this is my leadership style. And, you know, I'm a workhorse. If you hire me, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be fantastic. We'll deliver and we'll do some wonderful things to change the world.
Yeah.
And I believe that. The hard part is, especially when we talk about things like Me Too and how we dealt it.
Yeah.
There's a sliver that's like the small Gen X group, that's like the Xennials, that's between the millennials and the boomers, and even the Gen Xers. And just a very different way to approach conflict, a very different way to call out some of these pieces. So, you know, the hard part is I probably had to keep buttoned up and keep my opinions to myself and learn to just get through the process.
Yeah.
But now that I'm here and I'm at the table, I think the key piece for me, and I've reminded women all over, whatever panel I sit on, it's not just about getting through the door or opening the door. It's maybe kicking your heel back so it's open for the next person to come in.
I love that.
And so it's asking at the table, like, do we have representation from other communities, especially in Houston?
Yeah.
Because when I've worked on the West Side, I have a friend who runs the Chinese Community Center who's awesome. Is she at the table? Kathy Payton in Fifth Ward's amazing. Is she at the table? Are we really making the diversity available so everyone understands what our perspective is? Because it's little things. I had a complaint a couple of months ago about a fire in the back of a commercial property.
Okay.
People were setting a fire. They were doing it in an oil can. And what I realized the moment I drove by, I said, oh, they're trying to keep warm. And someone looked at me and said, how did you know that? Because there was nobody there. But you look at the building and realize there's no air conditioning, and you look at the back and you realize that there are packing boxes out there that this was their own source of heat.
Yeah.
Did that make it right? Not. Did the complex next door appreciate it? No. You know, did we find a resolution? We did. But when we talk about making policy changes or decisions, there is something about cultural competency, where you have someone who looks at it and is like, oh, this is why it's there. And then everyone understands. Because from an outsider perspective, it was a very different, negative, kind of judgmental approach. And it didn't get us to a solution any more quickly.
Yeah.
So, advice for women on this one. I would say, no matter how big the challenges are, don't let people tell you what you can and can't do.
Agreed.
You know what you can do. Sometimes the space isn't ready for you.
Yeah.
So help others get in. And it's hard to say to be patient, but there is something to be said about be patient and work hard, and you're going to get there. And I think Houston is the best city for that.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Having lived in Austin, I think my journey was more welcoming in Houston than it was in Austin, Texas.
Really? Mm-hmm. You heard it here. Houston's better than Austin.
It is. It's more affordable. Yeah. And I love Austin, and I loved it but even my friends there who are persons of color have had a very difficult journey.
Yeah.
And it's everything from the development to the business side, to how do you get a voice in government, to how do you make these changes. And so, you know, the thing about Houston is, are you smart enough and do you work hard enough? We almost don't care what color, race, nationality, creed, where you come from.
Yeah.
Just roll your sleeves up and get to work.
Because you can't in Houston because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the melting pot.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, especially food-wise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sorry, we're going to keep going back to food. That's what unites us.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you kind of answered my next question about advice for young women.
Yeah.
Kind of just, you know, kick the door open, leave it open for the next.
Absolutely.
Do you have any other advice for them?
I think mentorship means a lot. And it's hard because you want someone to come up and say, oh, I think you're wonderful, and affirm and say, I want to be your mentor.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. I've had mentorship from projects where I just learned from somebody who was more experienced. In a couple of situations, I just told someone, I think you're amazing and you have some skills that I've observed that I would like to learn from. Will you be my mentor in this space? Interestingly, there's now literature with the senior executive women on how to politely turn down a request for mentorship.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten really aggressive, right? And there's not enough women at that level. And so what I would say is be very specific. It's one thing to say, we want to be friends, we want to hang out and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But if there's a particular skill that you're looking for, and it's diplomacy, it's your ability to negotiate, it's watching you in conflict resolution, it's watching your presentation, it's understanding how you navigate the politics of Houston. Whatever that skill is, I would say be specific with that mentor so they can gauge time. Awesome. And don't be disappointed because you're going to get the no. And we got to have some empathy for each other. This is the first year I felt I started saying no. And I'm like very polished and coiffed right before you, right? Having this conversation. Yeah. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. fighting with a 20-month-old that didn't want to get out of his diaper, didn't want to get into clothing, had to get him to daycare, fought with me, and he was just in a bad mood. He walked into daycare and he's having the best day ever. Like, he was just blissful. And I was like, what is this? And I say that because I have one, when we're talking to women executives, and they've got 3, and one in college, and one is calling in a house, and we've got side projects, and I have girlfriends. A girlfriend who's a wonderful mentor to a lot of people literally has bags for every organization that she's in to organize her materials. Yeah. So when you get a no, don't get your feelings hurt. We're all just trying to do the best that we can in this day, and we got to remember that about each other.
And that seems, you try and put it in the forefront of your head, but, as a male, I don't think of it as much as I should, especially for, women, and especially women that are mothers, about how to balance that stuff. That's amazing. I mean, that's a thing of its own, right? I mean, that's amazing. And I guess, did it take you a while to finally, I'm sure you don't even have it balanced yet, right? Or is it,
No, it's a little bit. So I probably, my friends that keep it real are going to say, you're never going to find the balance. Yeah. It's just is everybody happy? Yeah. Is everyone feeling good? And there's some stuff I let go. I had to walk out of a meeting yesterday early that ended at 6, and I'm going to get to watch the presentation and take the notes. But I had to go pick up my kid. I didn't have childcare after 5:15. Yeah. I had to be in the car to make sure, because he didn't need to be staying late by himself, wondering where's mom. Yeah. And so the hard part is a little bit of forgiveness. I am hyper organized. I also take very limited engagements now, because frankly I had a kid later in life. Yeah. And so my priority is him right now. Exactly. And it's hard because I did the job where I worked 14 hours a day, and I volunteered on multiple boards, and I had all sorts of awards and accolades and recognition for the good stuff I was doing, and I had to downshift. Yeah. And so some of that is you're beating yourself up because it's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to this event, or you're not participating in politics or in this whatever it was that you were passionate about. But you got to kind of refocus your goals a little bit, and it's still, there's not a day that I don't that goes by that I don't absolutely enjoy my son. Even on a tantrum-filled day. These are rare. I get like one a month. I really don't have a lot to complain about. That's awesome. Yeah, my kid is cool. He's got his father's personality, and that's the blessing. Oh God, that's the blessing. That's awesome. So yeah, one day we'll figure it out, and then they'll change the rules on us. No, of course. So, and I will say, one of the value pieces that is difficult. It's always difficult for women to talk about money. Mm-hmm. We're taught not to talk about salary or success, or any of those financial pieces. And part of it is that it's impolite, and there's some criticism of that. But here's what I would say. The other piece that I found out is I got hired to do a job, and I have to do the job right. Mm-hmm. And I'm not afraid to ask for help or pay for the services that I can afford. And I know not everybody can. I am fully aware of that. But that means that I'm not going to sweat it if I have someone delivering milk. And I've met the delivery driver in the parking lot with milk and diapers to get them as I drive away. Super hyper scheduled, right? Yeah. So sometimes we have to kind of give up, and that means a little less eating out, and that means a little bit more clothes shopping at some places that maybe before I was like, oh, do I really need it? But we were joking about one of the warehouse places that had some great khaki pants. So I was like, right on, let's do this. Yeah. Because that's the joy of figuring it all out. It's part of the journey, I guess. That's awesome. Well, Veronica, thank you so much for meeting with me today. Yeah. It's been a pleasure, and I think we'll probably talk a little bit more off camera too. Okay. But
Thank you again, guys.
Thank you for
Veronica.
doing this, y'all.
Oh, of course. It's been awesome.
All right,
Been
so
awesome.
so love the women, love the mothers in your life, because we're not even telling you the real story behind the curtains. This is just scratching the surface of the drama
I love it.
that is.
I love it.
So thank you for International Women's Month for highlighting all the wonderful things we do.
Of course, y'all deserve it.
Yeah.
Y'all deserve it.
Love it.
Well, thanks, and guys, until next time.